It's all yours.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, so you know who am I. Diego Tejera, I'm the CTO of Rootstack. I've been doing software, yeah, basically for I think 15 years, around 15 years, and right now I do different roles on the company. And yeah, one of them are just as a tech lead or developer, and also as a CTO of the company. A little bit about us. We're a software development shop, mainly located in Panama in Central America. That's where I am. But we also have a couple, people all over. Another office in Colombia, some guys in South America, and a small office in Austin. And we do Drupal. Obviously, that's what I'm here. Besides other technologies that we have there, and we work with agencies in US doing staff augmentation, and on the region, Central and South America, we do. We are like a full service agency in this region. Okay, so the agenda for today is yeah, a little bit about Microsoft Azure. Why Drupal on Microsoft Azure? Why am I presenting this? And how we can do what I had on the first slide, how we can use the Azure services to host a Drupal website, and at the end, a small presentation, right? So probably everyone knows because this Azure is pretty popular, but Azure is a cloud platform to host all kind of services and websites. They have a million services that you can use to do different kind of stuff, right? So why Drupal on Azure? So today we have really cool and nice tools like Pantheon or Akia, or even more popular using AWS or Google Cloud to host these kind of systems. So why do it here? Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this talk and why Drupal on Azure is because we have one client that it's a Microsoft lover, so they do everything on Microsoft. And when we needed to deploy the website, they asked us to do it under Azure. Okay, so we didn't have any experience hosting websites on Azure, and we needed a solution to do something that could scale and that could be high availability. Okay, and we didn't find much documentation about this. So I thought it was a good idea to share our experience and what we found. Okay, yeah, and this is the reason I just said it. The client also wanted everything in one place. They have the rest of the stuff there. And something that we found out was that it was actually pretty easy to use and wasn't bad, which is what we were expecting, right? Because when people think about Azure, you're just thinking about you normally think about Microsoft related technologies, right? Um, okay, so why do I need to do this? The first thing that we use, and there are actually different ways to host this on under Azure, like just using a VM and putting the stuff there. But the service that we use is called Azure App Service, and this is like a managed platform to deploy and scale web apps. So there's this is like a managed kind of a managed container service, and you can use their own predefined platforms or bring your own container. And Azure App Service is not just for, I mean, we're using it in this example for a PHP application, but you can also use it but for .NET apps or Python apps and all kinds of stuff, right? Because you can bring your own container or use their already built stuff. It has integration with CI tools, and that are pretty easily to configure out of the box. So you don't have for some stacks that they have, you don't have to build your own deployment script or anything like that. They already connect to a lot of stuff. And you can scale up or scale out your resources. And you can do that automatically. There's a place, and I'm going to show you how you can just set up yes, some scaling rules to change what you have defined initially based on the traffic on or other rules. And yeah, well, it also has a lot of monitoring tools and stuff to help you to see how it's behaving. Besides having this, and you normally use this for the stateless part of your system, you will also need a database, right? And they have, like many other providers, a managed database solution. In their case, it's called Azure Database for MySQL, and yeah, it has stuff like scaling, and you can change the versions, and it can auto update. If you ever used AWS RDS for a MySQL database, it's pretty similar. And yeah, you can do stuff like having a cluster, doing exoscaling, and some other stuff there. Okay, some other services that you can use to finish your whole stack to deploy a website, depending on your needs. One of them is Azure Carriage for Redis. This is basically an implementation they have for Redis. They have their own CDN service. And they also have something like AWS S3 called Azure Blob Storage. There are a couple of implementations for this for Drupal. There's a couple of modules. They all are on Sandbox. I haven't really tested this. The only thing that we used outside of Azure for this project was where we were storing the files, and we ended up using for this part S3 from Amazon. And if you want a varnish server on front of all of these, well, you can use a VM or deploy a container for this just with a varnish, right? So you have different options there, but this is normally what is going to be your stack. So it could look something like this: an app service or a VM or a set of VMs with your varnish if you need it. Behind that, your Azure app, which is called hosted under Azure App Services, maybe the Azure Blob Storage or something else, and your Redis instance in MySQL. Okay, so let's see how you can do this. The first thing that I did this, it actually took me a lot of time, and it wasn't because it was complicated. It's actually pretty simple, but the documentation that exists, it's not good. I mean, if you wanna use something like Drupal. Okay, so let's go now to the Drupal Azure portal. This is, sorry, the Azure portal. This is basically where you do everything here. And when you log in into, let me make this a little bit bigger, maybe it's too small. When you log in into the Azure portal, this is what you're gonna see. And they have, yeah, a lot of services that they provide that you can look here from the directory, or just use the search that they have on the top. So in our case, we need to build an app service, which is this managed platform that I just talked about. So let's go to app services, which is here. And we can build here a new app, which is what you see when I click here, this. And there are a set of things that you need to put here, and I'm gonna talk about them. The first one is your subscription. When you work under Azure, you need to create a subscription, and you can have multiple subscriptions. This is mainly for billing. If you wanna have a set of stuff that gets billed to a credit card, or if you have different clients under your portal, you can create a subscription for one client and one for the other, so you know how much you get billed per account or subscription. Under that, you have something called a resource group, and this is basically a way to organize a set of resources. So if I'm building this website for this subscription, maybe I want to put on the same resource group the database, the Redis instance, the app itself, so I can have everything organized as one thing. So I'm just going to use one that I have here, and not create a new one. And now I need to put a name for this app, so I'm gonna call it SFDUG. Now you can select here if you just wanna deploy your code, or if you wanna bring your own container here. And if you deploy your own code, which is what I'm going to do, it's the simplest way to do this. I will just select the runtime stack that I want. And as you can see here, this is not just for PHP or .NET. They have a bunch of stacks already. So I will select PHP 7.4. After that, we have a region. Same way as AWS, you have different places where you can deploy your stuff. And after that, you have something called plan. So basically, you can set up a plan, and you can define that under that plan, I want to use resources of this specific size. And the scaling rules that you create are going to apply to that. So I could say that I want this plan that will contain servers that will be 4 gigabytes of RAM and one CPU or something like that. And every app that I create, it will get deployed to that plan if I select it, right? So I can share resources between my different apps. I don't have to pay for different environments or infrastructure for each of the apps that I create. And yeah, I already have one here created. I can use that one, or I can create a new one here on the fly. And I'm just going to do this to show how it looks. But when I do this, I can change the size of the machines that will be running this underneath. And they have different options here. There's a bunch of stuff. They have like these really basic machines they call them for dev or test, but you can really use them for production if it's something not that important. And you can select from any of these. And they have a bunch of configurations here. You can make it bigger or smaller as you need. So I'm just going to use the old one. That was just for an example. And you can see here that if I select an existing one, I cannot change the size because this is already defined and being used. So after that, you can set up some automatic deployment here. For example, GitHub Actions is not supported right now for PHP. They use it for other stuff, and I'll show you how we're going to deploy this after this screen. Then you have some stuff like monitoring, and you can add application insights to have a profiler and all of that. I will just skip this. This is just text, which I will just skip. And this is going to be my new web application. Okay, so I will click on create. Okay, so let's wait. This is going to take like 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, so it finished. Let's see our resource. And this is my new app now, right? There's a bunch of stuff here that I will talk a little bit about in a moment. But the first thing that you can see here is that you get some stats about errors, data in, out, and you can change what you have here on this dashboard. You will also get out of the box a new URL, which is this one here. Right now, because we haven't pushed anything to the environment, it just shows a default page. And there are some settings that we can change here. One of them, for example, is we can add some environment variables, which is what is here. And we're going to use this to set some settings for settings.php so that it can connect to a database. You can also see under the deployment settings some ways you can deploy your code out of the box. This, for example, has connection to GitHub or Bitbucket or a local Git repository. And you can also use this FTPS mode. So you could just push your stuff using FTP. What we're going to do is push it using Git. So we're just going to push this to this environment. I'm going to show that in a moment, but I want to show some other stuff first. Here is what I was talking about, that you can really easily set up how you can scale up or out your infrastructure. And for example, here I can just manually right now change the instant count. So the application can run on 15 machines if I want, or I can just set up some rules and based on a metric that could be CPU utilization or RAM utilization or stuff like that. Okay, and there was one more thing that I wanted to show that I cannot find right now. Oh, here it is. You can also change here your stack or the version of PHP that you're running. Right now, they support just PHP 7.4 and 3. And again, this is what I'm showing here. This is the most basic way you can do this, and it's going to work. But if you want to bring your own container with different versions of PHP or special libraries or stuff like that, you can bring it instead of using that runtime stack that they're giving you right now. Okay, and what we're going to do now is basically push a Drupal website into this environment. The way to do it is, I have it somewhere here, what I wanted to show you. Okay. Yeah, here it is. If you want to deploy using Git, basically what you do is that they set up a Git repository with this format for you, which it is your app name. In our case, is sfdug.smc azurewebsites.net / again your app name. So I already have a website running, not a website, sorry, but a project running here, which is this one. And what I am going to do is, let me see. Yeah, the remotes that I have here, the one that has this name, the exact this name will be this one, right? SFDUG2. So the only thing that I have to do now is just to push to that remote. Let me just copy this. And we will get some feedback here once we push it. You will see here that out of the box, what this runtime stack will do for our project is run composer install. That's the thing that it's going to always do. So if we don't want to deal with, or we don't have complicated deployment scripts, we can simply just use this, and this will run composer install for us out of the box. Okay, so while this run, because it's installed in every module, I will also show you that you can set up some scripts that you can run after the script that they run. And basically what I did was just created a small folder here and a simple script. This is just for as an example, but you can just run a piece of a bash script if you want to, I don't know, compile your team there. This will run. You can just, yeah, configuration import, go to your team, and run some npm or gulp or whatever command that you need. And this will run this machine that it is built in the code, and this at the end gets pushed to the machine or to the container that it is running, the website itself. You can see here that after it finished, it's now copying the files to where it should go. While we wait, if there's any questions so far?
Eric had a question about meme cache. Did you answer that already?
No,
He asked, is there a meme cache option on Azure?
That's a good question. I don't know. Let's see.
That's okay. I was just wondering if maybe you guys used it in your application or not.
Okay. It seems that there is one.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, you can always do it yourself, right? Using a VM or a container, but this is a managed service, makes stuff easier. So yeah, it seems that there's one.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see if this finished. Now it's still running. While we wait, there's one more thing that we need to do, and it is we will need credentials for our database, right? The way I have it on this simple website is that on their website's default settings.php, we can just set here for our credentials, we can use a getenv function and look for these environment variables, which are those that we set up on the page that I showed before. So we can do that because right now, if we finish, if this finishes, we won't have any environment variables to connect to the database. So let's go to Azure again. And we need to go to configuration. And we need to put them here. I already had another test website running. So I will just use the same database as that one. So it's this one here, and I will just go here and copy from one app to the other those environments those variables that we need. Oh, my terminal crashed. Maybe we were not waiting for that. We'll see in a second. But yeah, let me just copy this from one side to the other. And yeah, I couldn't have this prepared because we just created the app, so bear with me for a moment. Yeah, this is just a simple test database that I created for this. The same way AWS work, if you're familiar with it, it will give you an endpoint, and the cluster, if you have a cluster, it will be behind all of this. Pretty simple password, so sorry about that, but this is just for this test. And we have database host, password, username, that's it. And I have one more thing here, and it's what I was talking about. You can set up a variable called post build command, and you can run whatever you want after the build finishes. And I think there's one that it is pre or something like that runs before. So let's see what happened with my terminal. So I will just close all of this and do a new one. What's happening with this? So I will just do another. Oh, let's actually check if this finished. If this finished properly, oh no, I think I didn't click save. Okay, sorry about that. I'll do that in a moment. Yeah, this is a good sign. We're seeing here an error message from Drupal. And oh, there's one more thing that I want to show you before I put those credentials. This will provide you also with a way to look the logs of the system here. So you have a log stream, and you can see from here what has happened. Here's, for example, the error. It's not being able to connect to the database because there's no database settings there. So I will just go back again here. And create these variables once again. And sorry about that. Okay, so let's click save. So after you save any settings that you have, these don't go immediately into the environment. You need to wait a couple of seconds. So let's see. Yeah, it's already there. And yeah, you will see that we have now the website running. As you can see, it was pretty simple. I didn't have to do much, and I didn't show you the creation of the database, but I think that's trivial, and there's a million pieces of documentation that shows you how to do it. What you can see here now is that we have a hosted Drupal website on an environment that we don't really need to manage. We can pretty easily set up escalation rules for it. And yeah, it works. So let me go back to the presentation. This is the steps that I just showed you. So this can be here for reference. Someone sees this presentation later, and you can also do this. And I actually have it on another. I have this set up. But if you want to do a simple deployment script, let's say on GitHub, you can do a GitHub action just like this. So instead of doing the whole build on GitHub and building the stuff yourself, if you're using this pretty simple configuration, the only thing that you actually need to do is to push the code to that environment whenever it gets pushed to the branch that you need this to be deployed. This is what we showed about the post build commands that you can do. And yeah, that's it. It was pretty simple to set up at the end, and it's really simple to manage because you can set up all of those variables on the UI and have these scaling rules set up on the environment. So is there any question?
Esteban had a question in chat. Is there a drush command in the app service?
Instead of the drush command on the app service, you can connect, and I haven't done this before, but you can. Let me open this. You can have SSH access to the environment. So in theory, you could create a Drupal alias and connect from your computer via drush to the website.
I had another question.
Yes.
For scaling, when you scale the app, is there any sort of like DNS configuration or anything like that, or does it all handle that? Like
It basically handles all of that. Where is it here? Oh, sorry, it's on scale. Yeah, it handles all of that for you.
nice.
Mhm. And again, this will scale with your app service plan. I don't know if you remember that when we created that app service plan, you set up that each machine will be 4 gigabytes of RAM and 2 CPUs or whatever. That is what it's going to use to scale out. But you can always just change the size of the machine here if you want to. So you have those two options.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
I had a question. I noticed that the pricing is, it says estimated, and I'm sure, I guess that's based on volume of traffic. How do you, have you had any unpleasant surprises with regards to billing using this?
Okay, so the estimated part of it, it's because you are charged by the hour. So I think they're multiplying the hourly rate by probably 750 or something like that, which is around what you have on a month. In terms of billing, you need to be vigilant of your scaling rules, because if you just leave this grow and you get a lot of traffic, it will grow, right? And also here, the same way you get charged for bandwidth on AWS and Google Cloud, you will be charged for bandwidth. So yeah, your bandwidth billing could go pretty high if you have a website that is serving, I don't know, videos or stuff like that. Right? So that's when you probably that part of the system you put it on a third-party system, and you can stream from something specialized, or have your images in a CDN or something like that.
And I guess another question I have is, well, how long have you been using this?
Since last year.
Last year, and then in that year, have there been outages?
No, not really. It's been pretty stable so far.
Cool.
And I know this is really widely used for .NET applications. So yeah, it's a pretty stable system. It's been working pretty good so far.
What is Redis or Redis? I've never heard that term before, so I've never really dove into Azure stuff. So
okay, that's not related to Redis. It's like a caching system, and on Drupal you can use it to for sessions or temporal tables, and to have them already on RAM and have quicker access to them.
okay, so it's
an alternative to Memcache.
okay. Okay, I see. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Actually, could I see what the TLS tab looks like? Just curious.
Oh yeah, you can set up the TLS version and bring your certificate, or buy it here.
Oh, that's cool. So they do that, and they do domains as well. Like you can buy your domain. You can have them manage your domain if you want, or
Yeah,
not. Yeah. Okay. Wow, it's very cool though. Thank you for showing us this.
Yeah, I also was amazed at how easy it was. I was expecting to find something harder to manage, and it was actually pretty decent and easy to set up. The only thing is that there's not much documentation, at least for Drupal, on how to do this. And I noticed that even when the Microsoft guys goes to the DrupalCon, they don't present this too much for some reason. They talk about their services, but they don't show you like how to set up this on how to set up a Drupal environment like this on their services. Because I was looking for when I prepared this talk, I was looking on YouTube for this stuff, and I found a couple of talks of a couple of Drupal cons from Microsoft, and yeah, they don't explain this like this. They just go over their services.
Mm-hmm.
So I will probably create a blog post or something with instructions at some point, so there's some documentation available about it.
That would be great.
Yeah, we have one client who's self-hosted because I'm not really sure the reasons, but they didn't want to go with Pantheon. And I just wonder if this would be a better option because anything's a better option than self-hosting.
Yeah, the good thing about this is that you don't have to worry as Pantheon about updating servers and all of that, right?
Very cool. Anybody have any more questions? Great.
Can't think of anything.
Thanks, Diego. I'm going to push stop on the recording now.
Okay.
Thank you so much for